Sampai bukit mangga pala putu naik sunti dulu mangga sapak.
All right. Damn, I just got bad. Tell them they got to play the warm-up again. Alright. Now we can finally get into the match. Wait. This isn't the match. Damn, bro, this is a no mod sits leak for next week. What am I looking at? Let's go, Noom. Yeah, the volume is loud AF right now. It might just be the map. I actually don't know. Okay, wait. If Noom is my opponent and the Nets CW, then we got then we got a match. All right. Well, now I think we should actually be getting into it. I'm like half tempted to let this play for however long it's gonna play. Without the entire band phase. Heater match coming out though. I think of the ones I remember looking at earlier and seeing that were gonna be on today, this one was one I was like really looking forward to seeing. Okay, we don't want game poem on repeat, but this song's fine. Jesus. Yeah, no one sits protect coming through. That's wait, whose protect was that gonna be? That would have been Wallzie's. Yeah, that makes total sense. I think I remember seeing Wallzie put in some pretty serious practice into that match, so or that map. See that coming through. And then Noom protecting the hidden two, which I think makes total sense given Wallzie is not going to enjoy playing hidden two whatsoever. So I think even if it's not something Noom plays a bunch or is known for playing a bunch, it's still gonna be more. Give it up for the 7th time hearing this song. Good song. Damn. Okay, Noom with the No Mod 3 and the No Mod 5 ban. Debbie, I swear surely you should be able to change it, right? You got to save us. We already have like no viewers. The one viewer that we have is gonna run away. All right. We had the No Mod 1 coming through super early to set the pace for the match. So, Wallzie deciding, you know, it's aim consistency time. Let's play probably, you know, what a Wallzie is known for, I would say. Lots of really strong no mod plays, lots of really strong accuracy on no mod as a whole, and I think this is going to be probably one of those. But Noom's, I mean, this is easily within the realm of what Noom can play, so it's not going to be like, I think, as strong of a runaway pick. I think this is just a good way for both of them to set the pace here, get a feel for the match, see how they're playing, see how their aim feels. And it's going to be a bit of a longer one, too. I think maybe the longest one we have in the poll. It's going to be a good test to see where their nerves are, too, very early on. So far, nothing too crazy coming out. It's that they're both holding through some of this intro patterns. We're about to see a bit of a build-up here going into this section here. And Numa's the first to find a break. Is holding slightly better accuracy, but it's still close enough to where Wallzie does flip the score lead. It's only slight at the moment, though, still. And now they both trade out breaks. Yeah, easing into the match a little bit here. Looks like they're both going to be, you know, adjusting to this, actually seeing where their aim is going to be for the remainder of the match. Before we get to the next bit build-up, we do see Wallzie break. Score was super close at that point, but this could be Noom's chance to have a real runaway combo. The first one we might see so far. Doesn't build up that much of a lead before finding another break, though, so match is still pretty much in anyone's court at the moment. Play's looking so close that any major combo here is going to be enough to flip it. Couple more jumps coming through. Oh yeah, I was going to say, that's... Remember that being one of the widest jumps in the map, and those back and forths there, and, you know, Wallzie holding through that where Noom did not. Does finally find the break there. Did not build up that sizable of a lead. It's still gonna be super close, assuming Noom can hold through some of these sections. He's finding lots more breaks as the map has been going on. Accuracy is still gonna be in Noom's court at the moment. Looking comfortable as far as the actual map is concerned. Still holding a 96, so that score lead, despite probably having more breaks, is still not too far away yet. Barely at 5k score lead. I think it's gonna come down to which player holds through this section here, this part going into the ending. Only a couple more tricky jumps to trip them up. Noom consistently showing, though, that all these bursts, all the timing, is going to be playing a lot better. Wow, Wallzie somehow did not break there. That was a very early tap followed by a 50 that I thought would have been a break, but still manages to survive through that. And there's not going to be too much more to the map here. As long as Wallzie just holds, yeah. Razor thin edge as far as a map 1 is concerned. The 346 to 331k. And, you know, Noom locks in for even 100 more combo throughout the match. That's probably his point, but super close one. Ripping the protect right away, too. Noom not really messing around as far as the pits are concerned. I think this is, again, not something I would have said would have been a map Noom would play into probably 90% of the players, but I do believe I saw Wallzie delete this map the day that it got announced, so really not feeling like playing HC2. I've mentioned it before, but as far as HC2s go, this is going to be, way more on the aim side here. Not something that I think a lot of people who are unfamiliar with AR8 could practice and get decent at. But I mean, it is going to be a testament here to whether or not they have put in any time into the map, and it seems at the moment that Wallzie really did delete it. Noom not holding too many of these sections much harder now, but I mean, as far as this map is concerned, it's pretty much already over. It's gonna be too hard on some of these jumps to hold through these sections, and I mean, I think Wallzie might just have it. Yeah, no, very strong protect coming through as far as Noom is concerned. I think this is a perfect way of looking at the ban and the pick phase here, is that, I don't even know that there's any other player in the tournament at this point that Noom would feel comfortable protecting this against, but You know, in this case, it works out perfectly. Noom takes a pretty guaranteed point, and, you know, despite losing that first map, wins this one by a 200k lead and is right back in it. I didn't really get to talk too much about, you know, as far as the matchups and the pits go, what they're going to want to play into, but I think this is the perfect example of it. Noom knows that Wallzie, already known to not be a very strong reading player, also known to not enjoy hidden at all. This is a double whammy on both fronts, so I think Noom's probably going to have pretty comfy picks, you know, with whatever hiddens are left. I don't actually remember the bans. Yeah, just probably the hidden three. I feel like those are usually going to be decently strong. But otherwise, Wallzie's going to be pretty competitive on just about everything else. And now I think something a decent bit more within what we'd expect to see coming forward. I think they're, you know, after maybe 2 or 3 picks each, I don't think there's going to be a lot of safe, like guaranteed points from either player. So taking these early ones, like taking your early picks here, I think are going to matter so much for how this match shakes up. Holy audio. Song is very loud. Wallzie at the moment, showing that this pick does make sense, holding decent ad, but CS 6.5, pretty easy to miss aim, and yeah, Wallzie does find a miss, as I'm talking about that. Cursor is going to have to be very on point with some of these circles in order to hold here. Noom trades not too long after, so despite the store lead flipping, it could very easily move back to Wallzie here, given the accuracy. And it does. All right. This middle section, it's going to be important to hold through these jumps. They're not going to be, you know, very tricky as far as spacing is concerned, but, you know, this is the quote-unquote free section for this, or free combo for this map, and holding through here matters a lot, and Noom does find a miss. Right on the break as well. Gets to see that the store lead is within 3 digits now. Wallzie's just gonna have to close this map out. Close out a little bit more combo. Not a great amount of combo, but maybe enough to secure it still. Unless there's a big miss coming through. And there's gonna be no more map left. Wallzie holds consistent enough on the accuracy where that miss at the end didn't, you know, bite him. Very strong. Yeah, I will say, given what I was talking about before with map pits being so important early on like this, Wallzie secures the map pit, but I wouldn't say it looked comfortable. Only a 13k store lead. It was very close. Noom trying to go for the HC3. Okay, so we do know that Hidden is gonna be pulled out here. Noom gonna abuse that Wallzie's not gonna feel comfortable at all in that mod. Is gonna have to wait on that pitch though. Is gonna have to lean into something else here, and it's gonna be the hard rod 3. Alright, and now we're getting into Noom's next pick here. I think a pretty solid one coming through. I think what you'll probably have to be the most scared going into a matchup against Wallzie would be on, you know, those aim consistency pits, those some of those tapping pits, stuff like that would be pretty scary here. But Noom showing that he's been working on alt a lot lately, working on lower SR, and has been working on this mod too, and specifically. So I think this is kind of a really good combination, aside from those hidden pits, to really throw Wallzie off his game here. But accuracy looking pretty comfortable from both of them, so does look like it's pretty well practiced on Wallzie's end, despite me saying all that. Here comes the first major flow aim section, and Noom drops just before getting to it. Accuracy still slightly in his favor, but actually showing some of this hard rod aim is messing with him ever so slightly. Under aiming a lot more, but with Wallzie trading out constantly, score's not going to change. Approaching the halfway point now. Despite how much of a runaway pick it looked like it could have been on Noom's end, score lead still roughly, you know, within distance here, where I think Wallzie could go on a run, but it's holding through some of these parts here. These patterns here, deceptively hard on hard rod to, you know, aim some of this. Pretty easy to hit the edge of the circle, break, and then that kind of be the end of your combo. So we'll have to see who's got the nerves intact to do that. Alright. Combo's basically even at this point. Here come a bit more of that flow. These alt sections that pretty easy to misread, but as it's gone on, Noom's actions have gotten a little bit better, and so is Wallzie. They're getting more comfortable with the map, but one miss, either a mistap or over aim or something there, broke Noom's combo. And I mean, there's enough map for it to be flipped, but Wallzie has to hold and misses. Misses on, I think, probably the most missable stream there, and it's going to be unfortunate as far as this map is concerned, but that's pretty much going to secure the pit now. Yeah, again, I think given how decently even some of these pits have shaken up, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to predict who's going to break away here and, you know, really find a solid footing in the match, because they've both been taking their pits ever so slightly. I think the first break point is going to be kind of massive here if we do see one. So the picks are it's gonna be pretty important on both sides to make sure these picks are pretty much perfect in order to keep their streak. Off the back of that, Wallzie decides it's a DT1 moment. Again, not a bad pick. I think this is right up there within what I would expect Wallzie to feel comfortable picking into most players. A little bit more of an aim focused DT1, some burst, nothing too crazy, very easily actable. But it's with how close some of these scores have been, I won't say it's a lot yet. We'll have to see. All right. Going through the intro, both players coming off that hard rock, getting used to the pace of this match, getting used to DT now. They're both hitting. Noom breaks away with a little bit of an early accuracy lead, but not something that can't be tied up, pretty quickly. It is a 3-minute map. It's decently long as far as this pool is concerned. Wallzie finds the first miss, though, and it's coming off of the back of one of those triples into the sliders. Bit of an under-aim going through, and the accuracy still actually gaining as far as Noom's side is concerned. Not only holding, but looking a little bit more comfortable as the map has gone on, so this could be a pretty rough score lead to try to make up, especially if we keep seeing breaks come through on Wallzie's end. Halfway through the map now, we're looking at a pretty impossible lead at the moment. I think as far as this map is concerned, you could come back here, but you'd have to not only be comboing, but building up accuracy, and it doesn't seem like Wallzie's able to break past that threshold, whereas Noom's accuracy has been so consistently above, and also the combo looking to really dwarf any chance that Wallzie has to make it back into this map. Kind of a sad break for Wallzie. Sees the score lead at this point, knows that it's curtains, but as far as this map is concerned, it's, you get first sits here. Losing your break point is never good here, but I do think that there's still room to bounce back. But with how Noom played that, looks like he's going to be more locked in into a lot more of the maps that might come up. And a solid 750k to close it out. Pretty strong showing as far as the DT1 is concerned, I think. One miss? Yeah, one miss. No, Devi, he can pick HD now. Just not back to back Yeah, yeah. The picks themselves can't be back to batch. Which I think plays strongly into how Noom wanted to use that protect. Actually, really good to use the protect on his very first pitch, get a hidden out of the way, you know, have a different map to have to pick into, and then you still have that hidden 3 available. I saw that too. I don't know what these guys are on about. They play with background dim fucking 100. I know they do. I'm the only one in the server who plays without background dim, but whatever. Going into the map. So far, Noom is the first one to find the break. Wallzie trades not too long after. Accuracy is now pretty squarely in Noom's favor at the moment. No, I play with like 90% dim. I'm lying, but whatever. Alright. Getting into the sections here. Yeah, it does look like Noom is still going to be running away with the, not only the combo, but the accuracy as far as the comfortability on this map is concerned. Does find another miss there, but, you know, already built up so strong of a lead that it's looking like this is going to be another pit converted pretty comfortably. Finds another miss on that stream there. 250k or 250 combo and counting. Noom finally breaks again. I think that's probably only the second, maybe third in the map. So far has been a super strong showing. Definitely, I mean, even if I don't think hidden would have been something Noom would have picked into most players, Wallzie, it makes a lot of sense to pick into. This still is a solid score, I think, regardless. And looking like he's going to close it out with a pretty comfortable 96 accuracy play as well. Alright. Well, like I was mentioning before, the match got way scarier as soon as one player gave away a breakpoint. Unfortunately for Wallzie's end, that had to be his map pit that he lost, and then, you know, goes down one extra pit here. It's gonna be... Oh, it's gonna be No Mod Sits. This is a... This is an awesome pit coming forward, but I'm hoping, given the pace of the match, you know, Wallzie can stay consistent and hold. I know they practiced the map enough to be good at playing it, so. But I will say, with, you know, this map is only a minute 40 seconds. It's got the most gimmick sliders that you've ever seen, and it's pretty hard to hold combo if you miss aim even like once or twice during the map. You cut your score basically in half, so hopefully he's practiced it enough to not only have gotten a good score on it before, but also be consistently getting good scores. We'll have to see. Both showing that they're pretty comfortable at the intro, but Wallzie holding that double S going in. It's like, as far as the timing is concerned, is a little bit better. But again, like I said, these sliders are pretty easy to break on any of them if you're not as comfortable with this map. Finally does drop the athlete. Accuracies are now tied, and it's going to be the hardest section here after these sliders, which is probably going to make or break this map for either player. I think Noom, even though wasn't willing to pick it, practiced this map enough. But this part of the map is, I think, just as hard, if not harder, than the rest of the map by far. And these are the tricky back and forth, the timings that they do on these sliders. And Wallzie does find the break. And it looks like Noom weathered the trickiest part there. Those up and downs are easily the worst part whenever you're practicing this map. The rest of this is pretty easy to close out and combo well. And Noom does exactly that. Holy, 828k coming out of nowhere. Damn, yeah, powerful, powerful accuracy and store difference there. Again, like you saw, Wallzie did not even have a miss. I mean, it's not the timing that kills you on the map, it's those sliders. But, Noom already had the lead. Didn't feel like there was as much nerves coming through on his end, and closes out the full combo. Securing tiebreaker no matter what here. And then gets to pick the hard rock one in return. All the momentum squarely in Noom's side now. Noom finds an early under aim on one part, still holding better accuracy as far as the map is concerned. I'll say I think this is probably a map that, if I had to give a pick to Wallzie, I could see him have practiced this map a decent amount, gotten a good score on. It is mostly aim consistency, no super complex rhythms coming through here. So I do think it could be a scary pick going in, but with how much of a store lead Noom has, I guess it made sense that you want to try, this pick here. And with the accuracy being mostly even at this point, it's going to be hard for any score to actually become, super landslide score here. Only about 100 combos separating them both. Here's where the jumps actually pick up more, and it's going to be who holds through some of these sections. Noom barely hitting a couple of those, getting a couple 50s on some of the jumps, but it looks like they both make it through. They both make it to the break, and now is probably where some nerves will start to set in. They both see they're both on combos at the moment. Again, another map similar to some other ones in the pool where I think if you're playing this in local, with no stress on the line, this map feels so smooth and super easy to combo through, but you can see here their acts are, you know, probably not as good as they could be, and the aim also just slightly not in Wallzie's favor there. Finds a break, and Noom might just run away with it now, assuming he can hold through this section. Yeah, Wallzie under aims one slider on that one section, the slower build-up, and, you know, slider break, miss, doesn't matter what it is. The combo ends, and it's kind of this Noom's map to run away with now. Does find a break. It's, you know, not so far in Noom's lead that the score lead is technically safe, I think. Wallzie's gonna have to try to hold through some of this, though. Gets through that bursty section.
Amazing.
I do think Noom has such an accuracy lead, though, at this point, that Wallzie's really gonna have to turn up the pace. Not only combo, but start to build up a little bit better accuracy here. That's what it's gonna take, I feel like. Noom hitting some of these back and forths here. Not gonna be too much map left here, and now at about 95 accuracy. As long as Noom holds this, the lead's not gonna flip. Oh. And on his major climb back, it looks like Wallzie was just about there. But honestly, given how consistent Noom's accuracy was there, it still would have been really close, I think. Crazy S rank coming through on Noom's end. Yeah, solid scores from both of them, honestly, but that's just going to be the match. Noom ends up taking it 5-2. Unfortunately, like I had mentioned, an early break in this matchup in particular was really rough for either of them to come back from, and unfortunately it was Wallzie's breakpoint that he gave up, and Noom gets to move on. Now, with our second of 3 matches done, I want to say that should be it for Noom this week. I think he's already played through both of his lowers matches. It's kind of rest easy now and just wait for the next pool to come forth and figure out who he's going to face. And so I want to say the next match we're getting is, what, Fruits match, right? And then we're only going to be waiting on the Rack and Vinci match to close out this week. So, no, didn't feel like we saw as many matches, but I mean, that's just how quick it goes by. The pool's already about to be done. Noom's going to have to wait to see who he faces from, you know, the loser of the Fruit and Cookie match as his opponent. Yeah, Katine, you are locked in for a top 3 and also have 2 chances at making it out of Akarin. Essentially just getting the Grands gets you out, because top 2, obviously. Yeah, just what it's 14 already waiting in mood to make it out. Both the grand finalists, yeah. So making it to grand finals gets there, but all right. Good match from both of them. I'll just let the tiebreaker showcase play out. Oh, wait. Top 3? I didn't even know that. Shows how much I keep up. All right.